Later this month, there's going to be a birthday party. Beethoven's invited, you're invited, and the Virginia Symphony will be there in full glory. The Virginia Symphony is celebrating an anniversary, and what better way to do it than with the Beethoven Symphony No. 9, conducted by music director JoAnn Falletta, who is with us today to talk about not only the celebration of the anniversary of the Norfolk Civic Symphony Orchestra, now Virginia Symphony, but also this performance of the Beethoven Ninth. JoAnn, welcome. It's always a pleasure to talk with you.
Thank you, Dwight. It's great to be here, and it is a big celebration, as you've said.
Well, the Beethoven Ninth, you can't do much better than that, can you?
No, it is one of those landmark pieces that we use in truly significant moments of our history, and it's so filled with joy. I mean, it's exactly the right piece to celebrate 90 years of the Virginia Symphony.
Well, you'll have that on your mind, but you have to also control 70 minutes worth of tempestuous and glorious music. So
it's true.
when you're approaching this again, you did it maybe 5 years ago or so?
We don't do it that often because it's a big piece. People think of Beethoven 9, they think of the Song of Joy, and of course that is the great culmination. But there is this great music from beginning to end, from the very quiet beginning where you almost think that the music is surrounding you. It's sort of like music of the earth, to the extraordinary scherzo, to the sublime third movement, and finally to the Ode to Joy. And all of it, the more remarkable to me, this great tribute to the brotherhood of man, being written by Beethoven at a time in his life when he was really a recluse, a hermit, completely deaf, very little contact with humanity, but still believes in the power of love and the power of brotherhood, and says it so powerfully in his work. Yeah,
that one work overrides all of the stories about this cranky old man that we hear about Beethoven.
You're right, and that for me is so poignant. You know, he has the image of someone who was gruff and uncaring and hardly would speak to anyone, and very difficult to get along with. And yet inside was this heart that believed in so much in people and in their goodness, in the power of music to change the world, in the sense that that mankind was at the core a beautiful being, and a being filled with goodness. And we hear all of that.
Yeah.
And contrasting that with his gruff exterior makes it all the more moving to me.
When you approach it this time, will it be different than last time? Is it different every time you conduct it?
It's different every time. And, you know, Dwight, it's amazing to me. It's difficult every time. You think that after conducting it many, many times, you say, okay, I know it now.
Right.
It's difficult every time. It's amazing that so many... that, you know, this piece is composed so long ago that the orchestra, how they tackled it, I have no idea. How the orchestra and chorus and soloist tackled it. But they did, and whether the audience understood exactly what they were hearing, we don't know. But it's a piece that unfolds very slowly to the person who's studying it. It's a piece that you see more and more in every time. And the last few times I've done it, I've been seeing more of the kind of earthiness of Beethoven. And of course, it's very lofty. I mean, it's very profound, and you hear that in the third movement. But you also hear a sense of kind of camaraderie and sheer good spirits in the last movement that's been more striking to me. And in some ways, it's partly a kind of a song you might sing in a beer hall with your best friends. And on the other side, it's a piece of such a spirituality that you can't even be put into words.
Exactly. That little march that he introduces right in the middle of the last movement. Every time I hear that, I think, well, where does that come from? And yet it works. It fits.
Works.
It always works.
It's this paradox, this combination of something earthy and something sublime. Maybe that's what Beethoven is all about. I mean, he was definitely a man of the people. I mean, all of his music reaches us because he was a man of the people. But somehow at the core of everything is this incredible heart that lifts everything up to another level.
You'll get to hear this monumental symphony, the Beethoven Ninth, Friday evening, 8 p.m. at the Ferguson Center. That's on the 29th. The 30th at Chrysler Hall, 8 p.m. And then Sunday the 31st at the Sandler Center at 2:30. 3 opportunities to hear your Virginia Symphony pushed to the max by Beethoven, because it really is a challenging work for all sections of the orchestra, isn't it?
It's very challenging, but the result that the audience hears is a work of thrilling power.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they won't know how difficult it is. They'll just be, I think, overwhelmed by the drama, the force, the kind of joy, the overwhelming joy of this piece. I've seen audiences react to this always with a feeling of being moved to another world. I mean, it's just something incredible to hear this piece live.
And I suppose it's a testament to the orchestra that they can play it now, whereas the original orchestra might have been hard-pressed to play this back in 1920 when a few musicians got together and decided that the area needed an orchestra.
It's amazing. It makes the Virginia Symphony one of the oldest orchestras in the country, Dwight. It says a lot about this community and,
yes, it does.
And how forward-thinking they were. And it always makes me smile to think that they started off with a budget of $150 to buy music. And it was, as you said, just a handful of people, 4 or 5 people who said, we need an orchestra here. And many, many cities, of course, don't even have an orchestra, but very few have an orchestra that's celebrating 9 decades of music making.
Yeah, it is a testament to the community because, as we know, orchestras have problems and have had problems, financial and otherwise, but we have had an orchestra here consistently for those 90 years.
That's right.
Thanks to this Hampton Roads arts community. And it really is a testament.
I'm glad you said that. It is a testament to the people here who believed and who made sacrifices and gave of their resources and their time and their talents to make sure that the music kept playing. I mean, just imagine the sheer numbers of people, not only of the musicians who've sat on that stage, but of the community members who've made it a possibility, a reality.
Yeah.
It's a tribute to our region, and it makes me very proud to be in a region that has had that kind of an interest in the arts for 90 years.
Yeah, and I have been privileged to see and hear the symphony grow over now many, many years, going way back to when Russell was conducting, and through the merger, which was an interesting exercise, bringing together 3 orchestras, and nowadays sounding better than ever. It's just incredible.
And musicians who care deeply about the excellence of what they do for this community. That merger was a very important landmark for us, Dwight. As you know, I don't know of any other orchestras that have been formed out of a friendly merger of three different groups from 3 different communities that decided that to have the best orchestra possible, they needed to combine forces, and they did. They made the Virginia Symphony into a professional orchestra at that moment, and 1979 was an important year for us.
We're talking about your Virginia Symphony, which began with a meeting in 1920, their first concert in 1921, and they've been performing for enthusiastic audiences ever since. And we're looking ahead to the end of the month when the Beethoven Ninth will be used as the happy birthday song for the Virginia Symphony. That plus another work that, like the Beethoven, is going to emphasize the different parts of the orchestra.
Well, we're starting out with a wonderful piece that people will recognize. It's by Benjamin Britten. It's called Variations on a Theme of Purcell, sometimes called the Young Person's Guide to the Orchestra. We chose it because it highlights every section of the orchestra individually and then together in a wonderful finale that's overwhelming. So we'll start with that and have a birthday party at the end. So we're hoping that people will join us for a toast, come to any of the 3 concerts and celebrate this 90th birthday with glorious music and with a birthday party as well.